Absolutely well-deserved. And Maribel, I have to thank you as you're walking off the stage because, you mentioned, is everyone tired of AI? And everyone was saying, yes, they kind of are with the nods of heads. I have 28 slides on AI right now. So that's a tough way to get into it. No, in reality, I'm here from IBM to talk about a few things. And at the end of the day, at the end of this small session, what I'm going to try to do, in all honesty, is show you where in your daily IT and security lives, AI technology can help you manage endpoints, end users, and everything in between. Right? I'm going to give you concrete examples of technology that exists today to make your daily lives easier. Whether you're a small company, whether you're a Fortune 500 company, AI technology is here to help you. And it doesn't matter what industry you're in or again, size of company. I'd also like to just start out by saying, as IT and security leaders, you're no longer in a position to just enable a few devices, to just enable a few smartphones and tablets. I think we all can agree. If you're in the medical industry today, part of your job as an IT and security leader is to save lives. It really is. Because you hold the power to implement the technology to do that. And sure, maybe you're working with doctors to do it, but you're still doing it, right? You're in that position to do that. And you look at mobile technology as it's changing, or just technology such as wearables, right? Wearables alone, an Apple Watch, there's already many claims. I don't say claim in a negative word, I say claim in a positive word, claims out there about how it has saved lives. Right? So we're going to continue to go in this pretty exciting direction in our industry, whether it's saving lives or whether you're in a financial services company, how you as IT are going to be in control of helping the financial budget and the financial revenue of your company. Why? Once again, by leveraging new technology and innovation in your space. Okay? So again, at the end of the day, what we're going to do, we're going to cover 2 IBM slides. That's the only thing you're going to see from us, 2 IBM slides. And that's because I like drinks and we have 2 salespeople here that'll buy me them if I show 2 slides, right? Let's get started. So in our industry today, what's shaping our industry, right? What's shaping the management of end users and endpoints is this right here. For an end user, it's the experience that the end user expects to have, right? What do end users expect today? They expect convenience above all things. They expect voice controls. They expect the ability to touch. They expect access anywhere at any time. Now, we've been saying that for a long time, but the expectation is now there, and it's unavoidable. You, as IT and security, need to deliver on that experience because that's what's demanded of us today, right? And there's no excuse for it. And you have to balance it with security. We know that, right? We've learned lessons over the years. It is no longer okay to just have a BYOD program that does not separate corporate data and personal data. Right? That's both from public regulations as well as privacy in your own company. Right? We know these things change. So experiences from an end user expectation have changed and for a good way. Right? But that's something that is definitely driving our daily decisions. From an admin perspective, right, what's driving our management technology is this, and this is a great thing. It's the manufacturers, device manufacturer and OS vendors actually giving companies like IBM the ability to help you consolidate systems and management approaches, right? To manage everything in one platform. And I'm sure a lot of you here still have multiple platforms for managing different device types, right? You may have Intune for managing, Windows. You may have a competitor of MAS 360 for managing smartphone and tablet devices. You may still have a BlackBerry server. Right? You have multiple management systems today. And the great news for you is that that's able to be consolidated and go in a step in the right direction for you. Right? Windows 10 is really making that possible. Right? Apple with Mac OS and having MDM APIs to manage these devices is making this possible. Right? So I believe the technology is going in the right direction for the benefit of all of us here and end users, right? Matching end user experience and then on the admin side, having the tools to be able to provide more efficiencies. Okay. With all of that said, and being in the industry for several years now. We've talked about acronyms, MDM and MAM, and enterprise mobility management and unified endpoint management, which we're starting to talk about more and more. All of this investment you've already made. We did some polls with EMA research, and what do the polls say, right? It's not about the numbers here. It's not about a specific number. If you look on the IT side, this simply means that IT and security leaders find it difficult, right, to implement security still. And if you look at the end user side of things, what does it say? Again, it's not about the number. It's that end users, no matter what you have done as an IT and security leader, they still feel it's too difficult to get access and to do what they need while mobile. That's not a great thing, right? This isn't very healthy for our industry when we are several years into what we typically call mobile, right? And all the investments in money and time that's taken place. So what do we do, right? What do we do? How do we do something different? And this is where I like to start talking about UEM, right? Unified Endpoint Management. It's the latest buzzword, right? All the analysts are saying it, right? Unified Endpoint Management. In fact, Gartner is coming out with the Magic Quadrant for Unified Endpoint Management. And that is replacing the MDM Magic Quadrant and the EMM Magic Quadrant. And what, if you've been in the industry for 10 years now or so, what you know is the Client Management Tools Magic Quadrant, right? Client Management Tools was all about patching and server and laptop updates, right? Inventory management. So all of this is coming together for Unified Endpoint Management. But what I'll tell you candidly is every vendor in the industry that's helping you manage devices and users and endpoints and apps and content and data, we're all going to tell you the same exact thing. We're all going to say you need UEM, it's going to solve all your problems. And whether you go to IBM or you go to someone else, we're all going to say the same thing. It's not going to be new to you. And most of the tools you'll look to adopt will enable you to do the same thing you've been doing for the last 10 years. And if you think that's a great approach, go with it. Right? If you think being able to manage hundreds of thousands of endpoints as IoT becomes in your realm, as sensors get plugged into everything, right? As users now are actually using multiple devices, it's not just a pipe dream. Right? If you think a traditional way of managing endpoints and users is the way to go, then go do it. Right? No one is going to change your mind or do it differently. Or you can start saying, what can we do differently here? This is where we start getting into a modern approach to managing, again, end users, endpoints, and everything in between. More modern approach. So what does it look like? Let's start with devices and things. Right, so for devices and things, this is the basic layer. This is literally managing the device. And historically, yes, we have called this mobile device management. Right? Now, as we get going, we look at wearables and we look at IoT sensors that are coming into the fray, coming into your management world, devices that you have to do something about. So take a positive approach, right? Get these devices under management. Help yourself out. I will be the first to say, if you're a shop in an industry that's going to be heavy on IoT devices, your UEM solution is likely not going to be the solution to manage all of IoT. But there will be a portion of IoT that can be managed by a unified endpoint management platform. I'll give you a basic example. A digital signage device running a version of Android. Why wouldn't you manage that device just like you manage a laptop or a smartphone? Right? Very basic example there. But there will be many examples in your environment where an IoT device makes total sense for your existing IT group to manage and manage it with all of your other devices. Right? Wearables fit into that category as well. And then, of course, you have your traditional smartphones, tablets, and laptops. So you may say, I don't care about managing the device. What about a BYOD scenario, right? What about the personal privacy? We don't want to manage the device. And part of a mobile management, modern management strategy is to keep building on this pyramid, right? Your apps and your content. This is the area where if you care only about the apps and content and you don't care about the device, go ahead, use a secure container approach. Have a container to manage the business side, your email, calendar, and contacts, corporate applications, and ignore what's happening on the device level itself. These are not, by the way, a one approach or the other approach. This is having a modern framework at your disposal so certain user groups or categories of users, you can implement what management approach best fits, right, for the use case. And in most environments and customers we speak with, it is a mixture of everything I'll build here for you today. It is not just one approach that works for any organization. People and identity. This might be one of the, I guess, newer concepts. It's not new to folks if you've been engaged with identity management solutions for the last 2 or 3 years, or even longer. But looking at managing people and infusing identity management in everything you do related to mobile is going to be a key for you to manage appropriately going forward. Right? And this includes things such as conditional access to apps, right? Single sign-on, making it really easy for a user to get access to a corporate application and to use their fingerprint or facial recognition or that links back to their standard corporate password. Right? Why is that important? This goes back to the experience. When you think about the experience an end user has, they go to their iTunes store or their app store, they download an app and they use it. It takes just a couple minutes. That's the expectation you have from a corporate user accessing a corporate app. Right? It should be their one standard password or single sign-on experience, and they should be able to get it in seconds, right? And be useful and be up and running. And if you're infusing identity management into this stack of modern management, you'll be delivering users that exact access. It will be just like them accessing their banking app, but it will be corporate apps. And it doesn't matter whether you have 2 corporate apps or you have 200 corporate apps. These same principles would apply for identity and single sign-on and conditional access. And this approach also takes the security aspect of, what if a user grabs a device off the shelf, goes and gets the Box app that's the corporate app and tries to access their information on a phone that's not managed by you? Right? Having an identity solution infused recognizes the user is not on an approved device, flags them, and either forces them to enroll that device or blocks them from getting access to it. So again, at the end of the day, what are you trying to do as IT and security leaders, right? You're trying to protect your corporate assets, protect your corporate data, right? Limit risk, protect privacy. And this is a stack that you're going to be able to do it with. And again, every single vendor in the industry is going to tell you this if they haven't already. If they haven't, I'd be scared, right? Because this is the approach all of us are actually taking to market. Now, nothing we've said here changes except for cognitive and AI. And personally, this is where the industry starts getting sexy again, starts getting exciting. This is where you can start seeing how it changes your daily lives and your daily routine as IT and security leaders. And so I'm going to paint those examples now as we go here. And I'll do it first with Taylor and Greg. So Taylor and Greg, as you can see, one's a little frustrated. That must be Greg. And Taylor's happy. She's got her little blue laptop there. And what are they doing right now? So what I want to walk you through, mentally picture, is a scenario where AI can help you detect or discover new malware threats, right? Which devices are out of compliance and which devices have known vulnerabilities. Right? So let's take a malware example. Malware hits today. I don't know if you guys know that. There was a 0-day malware that came out today on Android, on the latest operating system. I'm joking with that. I'm absolutely joking with that, right? That did not happen since we're being filmed. Right? But the whole point is, when that happens in the industry, what happens to your IT team or your leaders or whoever's in charge of managing those mobile devices? What do they do? How much time do they actually spend trying to figure out that scenario? What do they have to do? So Greg doesn't have an AI solution. I feel bad for him. So what does he do? He starts looking at blogs and news feeds and understanding, does this malware affect us? How does it affect us? What does it do? Right? What do we do about it? Right? And in that whole scenario, the most important thing is first, someone in that organization needs to have discovered that there was even a 0-day malware threat that may be affecting them. Right? Taylor, on the other hand, she has an AI solution. So what happened? Well, Taylor either got an alert from the system or she simply logged in for the day as the administrator of their mobile devices. And her AI solution actually told her that there was a 0-day malware threat for a specific operating system. and 15 of her devices under management were actually affected by it. And it told her where to go for more information if she wanted to learn, and it gave her best practices on what to do about it and how to remediate the issue. So who would you rather be in that case, right? Greg or Taylor? And of course the answer is Taylor. No one wants to be Greg. Any Gregs in the room? I'm sorry, it could be a bad example for you. This is an example of an actual cognitive or AI advisor. This happens to be our AI advisor. This is what we show our customers. This is in the Unified Endpoint Management portal. And it says risk exposure. 36 devices are missing the latest Apple iOS 11.2.6 upgrade. So what does this do? Essentially, an advisor is helping your administrators prioritize what could be most important in your environment. Because let's face it, if you're managing 50 devices, maybe not a problem. 500 devices, 500,000 devices, right? 500,000 devices to some of you may mean it could be outrageous, but this is where we get into IoT devices, right? And hundreds of thousands of sensors that you may be managing. You need a different approach to think about how you work through the priorities of this, right? And this is where AI starts coming in. This kind of insight. And all of this is contextually relevant to your environment. This is not a news feed, right? This is telling you, you may be affected because you have these devices, and all of this was automatically detected via AI or different engines. In this case, it's powered by Watson. Here's an example about when WannaCry came out. And this highlights the level of detail we try to provide our customers, or what an AI solution can provide you, right? Here's WannaCry. In this case, some of these you can't tell based upon how it's announced in the industry whether it affects someone's environment or not. WannaCry was one of those examples. But we still notified our customers about WannaCry ransomware. We gave all the details. We showed where to go for more information. We talked about recommended steps. And these links are not always IBM links. If you see here, we're linking to Microsoft in this case for WannaCry, right? We're putting you and sending you to the source that has the best information possible. So if you couldn't make the decision based upon this, you're not wasting your time going to 6 different blog sites trying to figure it out. It's about operational efficiency here. And it's not just about vulnerabilities. It's not just about risk to your environment. We believe you have great people on your team, but they may not be experts in everything that's coming out of Apple and Google and Microsoft and everyone else and Samsung and all the device manufacturers. So what we try to do is we try to provide opportunities as well, operational efficiency opportunities. Now this example happens to be about app usage in your environment. So what AI can start doing, if you have lots of apps deployed, are they being used? Are they crashing? How long are they being used for? Right? Did you just spend 3 months planning this app deployment, and now your HR app is used less than 5% of the time on a daily basis across your population? Wouldn't you want to know why? Wouldn't you want to take that knowledge back to the business the next time they say, hey, we've got this latest app we want to roll out? You go, whoa, who is this going to? The other 3 apps we rolled out is used less than 5% of the time. Right? This is about getting analytics and understanding that you can actually be actionable with. And for an AI solution, it's about risks, it's about opportunities, and also about education. And I don't have that example up there, but it's also about some education too. Let's keep rolling. Voice assistants, right? In the end user world, in the consumer world, whether you have kids, whether you like to play around with them yourselves, AI assistants, voice assistants, chatbots are in our daily lives. And we like them most of the time, especially, I'm a pretty candid guy. I'm sitting in bed, I'm playing on my device, my wife is watching TV, she literally set her iPhone down and then asked me, oh, what's the weather tomorrow? I said, well, just say, hey, Siri, and ask. I wasn't going to change what I was doing to give her the weather report, right, when she could have. But the idea is we're always interacting with these. My kids don't change the TV remote control without talking to it. Put on the Golden State game. Boop, boop, there's the Golden State game, right? They don't bring up the guide and flip through the channels. Now, I bring up the guide. I'm not used to doing all the voice assistants, but the bottom line is, in our consumers, your end users are getting used to dealing with voice. So why has that technology not ported its way down to your everyday lives in IT and security? Why? Well, either people aren't doing it, it's not useful, I don't know the reason. We feel it's useful. And so we believe AI should also be useful in the context of your end users. So you can have an end user AI assistant on your mobile device in your secure encrypted container. And when the user is trying to find that email that their boss sent 3 weeks ago and they can't find it searching, they can simply say, find me the email that Bill sent around G2. And boom, it pulls up the email from the boss from 3 weeks ago about what? About G2. How many of you have tried to schedule a meeting across multiple people while being mobile? It's an absolute horrible experience, right? It's frustrating. Now, I'll send that invite when I get back to my desk. Bring up your AI assistant and simply click on the voice command and say, schedule the next available time with Adrian, Joe, and Kate. Done. Because your AI assistant listened to you, understood who was involved, what you wanted, and when you wanted it for, did the work in the background, and instantly popped that information up to you for you to hit send on that invite. Those are the types of conveniences users will begin to love enabled by IT and security. Why am I not getting mail notifications, right? Someone on your team is getting that email or that phone call or that chat support right now. Why am I not getting notifications? Okay, the user can just bring up their assistant and say, why am I not getting mail notifications? And it can do self-diagnostic to say, well, you're not getting them because you have notifications turned off. Do you want to turn them on? Yes, thank you. Click, done. Save the call to the help desk. Right? These are all where AI can actually make an impact on your users in this scenario. So how about the admin? Right? Maribel mentioned skill shortage for some companies. It's real, right? You may have the people power, but you may not have the skills. It's not a negative. It's really hard to have to balance all these projects. So what we've done for our customers, being a cloud platform and having AI, is to say companies need help understanding when they create a security policy across any of the device manufacturers or OS manufacturers. So we created what we call a policy recommendation engine. An admin inputs their industry, deployment size, the location, region, that they reside in, and we help pre-populate a policy in real time that takes industry and community benchmarks. Literally in real time, it goes out to see what in the industry is most popular across this customer's same industry, deployment size, and region, and we're going to start them off with a policy based upon that. So you may start off with a policy based upon 600 other customers and what they have for their policy presets. Pretty powerful if you have someone new to a role who's really not sure where to get started with a security policy, right? How do you compare yourself to best practices in your industry? That is an absolutely great way to start it and to do it. Right? It's about helping you make a faster, better decision enabled with AI or cognitive, and this is an assistant on the admin side when creating policies. And we talked about natural language processing. Heck, end users can speak to their devices. Why can't admins too, right? Let's have a little fun. Show me all of my out-of-compliance devices. So instead of searching and manually querying reports, just ask it what you want and get the answer you are looking for, right? And that's real technology, right? It's natural language processing in a platform that delivers unified endpoint management. What are you looking for? What do you need to try to do? Let us get you an answer via an AI assistant, but for admins. Okay. So we feel, from an IBM perspective, everything in blue, every vendor in our industry that's going to talk unified endpoint management, they're going to provide for you. And it's all very important. We'll do it in different flavors, different ways, but we're all going to talk about the same basic things, right? Devices and things, apps, content, and people and identity, right? We feel the advantage that IBM MAS 360 brings to the market is a continued investment and innovation in cognitive or AI. We started this well over a year ago with our integration with Watson. So our official product name is actually IBM MAS 360 with Watson. And we continue to make innovation in this area. And you've seen some of these real examples. Chatbots, policy recommendation engines, the advisor or those insights around vulnerabilities to help you prioritize what's most important for you to address or to understand or to have visibility into in your environment. And this is why we feel we're continuing to go in the right direction in this market. And if you haven't seen how we package, this is exactly how we do it. And most of the cognitive aspects that I shared with you today are in our most basic essentials package. Why is that, right? Why do we take what we think is most special in this industry and put it in the most basic package we have? And the answer to that is, we feel in order you to future-proof yourself, in order you to be truly successful with mobile as it expands to wearables and IoT and managing hundreds of thousands of devices, you need AI. You need to have cognitive technology baked into the core of the platform. And that's exactly what we want to make sure you have without you having to pay extra or to even make it a choice. You do not have to choose. You get it automatically. You want the management of laptops with your smartphones and tablets? Yes, you don't have to make that choice either. You want identity infused in everything you do across your app's content data? Great. Again, it's included in our most essentials package. You don't have to make that decision. So we feel we offer the most bang for the buck. If you have not checked us out in quite some time, we encourage you to do so. We always have had a free trial directly off of our website. We still do. We have multiple boardroom sessions this week. We have lots of one-on-ones. We're very available folks. And what I would say is stop by, ask us some questions, and we'd like to get to meet you a little more. So thank you very much. I really appreciate your time.
Don't go anywhere yet. Don't go anywhere yet. I wanted to see if there are any questions. So one of the things I love, so when we talk about AI, I think we talk a lot about like HAL and Skynet, and it's going to overtake the world, right? What I think we just heard about here was the concept. I loved a couple of words on the slides. We had the actionable insights, which is really what you guys want, and the contextual analytics. And I think that's really what people should be talking about when they're talking about AI. I think people go to a very dark place around automation and destruction. So I think all of the business services we're looking at, we're all aspiring to create something where you're taking more data and making it better.
Absolutely.
Right? And giving people better insight to how they can perform better. Right? So with that, Phil has a mic if anybody has any questions. This one over here.
Question? Would you please say your name and company, please?
Hi, my name is Dieng Nguyen, and I'm with UPS. Do you guys support head wearable devices, and do you have a mechanism in which you allow the users to authenticate using the MAS as a service for these devices?
Was that headwear devices?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we do support headwear devices. I'll give you an example. We just made an announcement, I think within the last 30 days, of supporting Microsoft HoloLens as an example of a mixed reality wearable device. And there's some great applications in the industry where we could see that fitting. So yeah, absolutely. And you want it to be secure as well, right? So yes, we do. Thanks for the question. All right.
Yes, right here.
Randy Jones from Travelport. What would happen if the AI is always looking at the common things, and so you have all these things that are normal, and people start looking at the normal things, but then the abnormal, the AI misses? Because they're not used to looking at it anymore because they only look what the AI says.
Yeah, I think that's a fair question, right? In any industry, in any sector or vertical, especially if you're going to speak about security, right? If you're being inundated with threats, it gets the numbing effect, and you just get numb to everything. And so I think in our world of, end users, endpoints, and say everything in between, I think it's less complex to answer your question. I think there's less small abnormalities that happen. I think in the greater security world, when you're talking log management and attacks on your network, I think that's where these larger problems can come into play and often come into play. And there's certainly solutions that are catered to addressing that specific question, whether they are AI, machine learning, or something else. I believe they cover most or many of those scenarios. So it's a relevant question. I think in our world of managing mobile devices, it hasn't risen to that level of complete concern, but it's a priority. When there's a known vulnerability and it's detected, and as IT and security leaders, whether 100 devices, 100,000 devices, or one device is not addressed or remediated or acted upon, it leaves a risk to your network. Right? And whether it's an AI solution or non-AI solution, if you're not addressing those vulnerabilities, and they're known vulnerabilities, and that's where most attacks, right, are coming in from, it's still a problem. All right, thank you.
Is this on? Yeah. Excuse me. Sorry. So I got my steps.
George McQuillister, PG&E. You know, you're talking about use of AI with respect to the administrative side of the house from an IT management perspective. Curious to know, is that inclusive also of more of the consumer-focused devices today, like Google Voice, for example, or Alexa? And what's your response to that in terms of any enterprise that's considering adopting those types of technologies or tools?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So the way, I'll get very specific here, the way we had to, or wanted to, implement our voice technology and some of our AI assistants specific to the end user in voice was to put it inside of our secure encrypted container. So the container for email countering contacts. Because it's not what the functionality does today, scheduling a calendar invite, if you will, basic task. Right? It's where is it going? Where are we continue to invest in? And so what about the rest of your corporate apps? Shouldn't voice be enabled for the other 30 apps you have that are enterprise-ready apps? And so if those apps are wrapped or considered enterprise apps based upon, a UEM solution, we want to enable voice capabilities across that aspect as well. And so it was important for now to keep AI assistant or cognitive chatbot technology, voice technology, to the corporate piece of the device that IT is going to manage, and that's within the secure container. And that's regardless of whether it's an Android, iOS, or a Windows device, right? Keeping it in that container and allowing voice within that container and expanding to corporate authorized applications versus anything else. Thank you for the question.